This is Road to the Golden Door, where we unpack the proven success formula straight from the minds of Golden Door winners, uncovering the motivation, methods, and the mindset it takes to become an elite performer in door-to-door sales and in life. This is Road to the Golden Door. Now, here's your host, Mikey Lucas.
Welcome back. Road to the Golden Door. We have the all-time GOAT on the show today. So if you have never heard of this man, don't know his story, you're going to want to listen up because he is going to share some insider secrets on how he has 2 Platinum Golden Door Awards, 3 Golden Door Awards, and 4 double Golden Door Awards, which means this guy is the most awarded door-to-door sales professional in the entire industry. Troy Dinbokowitz, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Good to be on the show with you, Mikey.
Yeah, man. So you are one of the owner-founders of Sun Solar Solutions. You've done 23 years, guys, 23 years in door-to-door sales. Your top year, you said, was 3.2 megawatts of what you installed and sold. That is a wild amount. So I'm like really excited and interested to see how people say they have no time. Troy, you got 6 kids and you've been married for 34 years, bro. How like the whole like, I don't have time, blah, 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 like whatever. Like there's something that is clear. Not only that, but I will throw this statistic out. 2 years ago, you guys had over 26% of the Golden Door Award winners on stage in your company under your direct leadership, which is outstanding. And you have created more Golden Door Award winners in your organization than any other company. That includes Grit. Correct. The Grit has not created more Golden Door guys than you guys have at Sun Solar Solutions. That's exciting. Thank you for being on the show, bro. Let's go.
Great being here. Let's talk.
Awesome, man.
Sitting down with you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we were just jamming off mic. I know that you and I had conversations regarding building out social presences. I'm really excited to see what your future looks like. Dude, just having a camera on you at all times, brother, is going to help the industry out. And I'm just excited to see you capitalize on that because really you've done what you were told to do, which is to have your head down and run. And now I'm super excited to see just to have somebody there with you recording everything. And dude, I don't even sell solar anymore, and I'm going to buy your courses. I'm going to buy everything you have. So I'm excited to see that, what that's going to look like for you in the future. And I'm glad that you're going to continue to be on stage installing megawatts of solar a year and still have now a camera guy around you. So I'm glad you're heading that direction. So for anybody that doesn't know Troy, who is Troy Dinbokowitz?
Troy Dinbokowitz is a father. First of all, family's everything. My family's my why. And everything I do revolves around my family. So I had to be successful. I had to be able to go to work, put my head down, as you said, to make ends meet. So years ago, somebody showed me how to knock on a door. And, I, for years, laying in bed, staring at the ceiling at night, trying to figure out how to provide for my family, this opened the door for that. This kicked in the door. I found something that I was very good at that I can strategically put a plan together and every day attack it. And, every door you knock on, you're just sharpening those tools in that mental toolbox. I just got better and better and better. So this provided me to spend more time with my family, actually. A lot of people say, how do you have time to be the father, be the husband? Actually, knocking on doors, I mean, now you set your own hours. You're not clocking in, you're not clocking out. You wake up every day, you're putting something towards your business. Everybody, even though we're all 1099, we're all our own business, if you really think about it. So I'm always looking for the next deal. And I've treated this industry like I'm unemployed, honestly. So I am unemployed until the next sale. So what happened is over time, I was just programmed. I'm constantly looking for the next sale. And I treat every sale, I still celebrate every sale. I get high and then I refocus. I'm unemployed into the next sale. with that mentality, it's enabled me to succeed.
I'm unemployed until the next sale. I actually was just interviewed on another podcast, and somebody asked me, Mikey, how do you break the employee mindset? So I'm curious to see what your response is to that. But first, my response was, I act like I am an employee because I if it was up to me, I'd watch, Netflix all day long if that's what I really, if it was up to me. If I got no real accountability, I mean, there's really no accountability as an entrepreneur. It's up to you.
Yeah, and
So
that's, I always had the why. I've always had the why. To be successful in the door-to-door industry, we have to have a why. There's got to be a reason for us to get up, get out of bed, and go to work every day. Because most of us, we punch a clock, right? I mean, most of the population, they punch a clock, and if somebody wasn't watching them, looking over their shoulder, would they actually clock in and clock out on time and actually go to work? Because a lot of people in this industry say they're going to work, and then they're at QT, you know, pretending like they're working on social media, or grabbing their drink, their Big Gulp or their Thirst Buster, and spending the next 30 minutes in the car, and then scouting, driving through an area, not actually getting out of the car, and say they knocked for 5 hours, but actually they knocked on 10 doors, and maybe 3 of them opened and had one conversation. That's not working. That's not working. I left my house every day. I have 30 business cards in my pocket. I could not go home until I got 30 business cards into 30 homes. I mean it. I would not go home until I got 30 business cards into 30 homes. Putting it on the door did not count. Putting it on the door did not count. I had to have 30 conversations, and they had to get in the house. There's a shelf life on those conversations. Every business card went into a drawer or got put on the fridge, and I knew that. So you're building an avalanche, and sooner or later that avalanche is going to fall. And I've been doing this long enough to know that the more conversations I had in 1 week, if I had a bad week or I had a bad 3 days, I know that wasn't for nothing. I knew that over the next couple of weeks, I was going to get return phone calls. Timing is everything in this industry, and you never know what's going on in somebody else's life behind that door that you just knocked on. Could be going through a divorce, could be getting fired from a job, could have had a really bad day, just got in an argument with his wife. So it's important that when you knock on the door, that you're a soft approach and you're there to make a friend. And I treat every conversation like that. I'm trying to get to know somebody. I'm not just talking about solar. I could be talking about a number of different things, but 50% solar, 50% about something else. And that's always paid off in dividends for me.
Well, guys, you heard it. You heard it here. You can turn the podcast off now. 30 business cards a day created the number one all-time salesman that I know of. 7 Golden Door Awards, 4 of them being a double, which means that's 2 Platinum Golden Door Awards. I don't know anybody that's sold more than you.
Yeah, I don't either.
Love it. Well, obviously I want to add as much value as I possibly can to listeners. So that's outstanding. Good.
If somebody that's motivated by money is going to have the drive. I've always been motivated by money. They say money doesn't buy happiness, but I tell you what, it sure can make for a fun and exciting life. And I've always wanted that for my family, and what it's been able to provide, that 30 business cards. Somebody told me that. Somebody told me that trick back in 1999. Okay, and he's actually responsible. That gentleman that told me that is responsible for building Monotronics. Everybody that knows the alarm industry, Monotronics, it's out of
I used to sell Monotronics.
Yes. So one of the largest, he was the recruiter. His name was Craig Higginbotham. And he set me up here in Arizona, and I was getting my ass kicked out here. I mean, people were knocking on my doors, taking my deals, and I was crying. And he looked at me straight in the face and he says, "If you're crying, it's because you're getting your ass kicked." And he goes, you need to put your big boy pants on. You need to go to work. You need to be competitive. You need to be aggressive. And you need to put 30 business cards in your pocket. And you can't go home, Troy, until you have 30 conversations. And he
Well,
taught me that little trick, and I've carried it for 23 years, and it has never failed. I have never gotten a 30 business cards without getting a deal because we deal with so much rejection in this industry. And so you have to have a mind hack to overcome that. And when I would feel like everybody was saying no and I was having a bad day out in the field, I would just start counting the business cards, counting the conversations. And I've never gotten a 30 without having a sale. True story. 23 years.
have you sold any deals in Las Vegas, Nevada?
I have not.
Then it must have been Michael. I lost a deal to Sun Solar Solutions a few years back.
Yeah, no, everything I've ever done is in Phoenix, Arizona, right here.
It must have been Michael then, because I lost a deal to Sun Solar and the guy said it was the owner and I thought it was you. But then I realized, wait a second, I always thought it was Michael. I never actually asked him, but I lost a deal to one of the owners, which was only 3 of you, to Sun Solar Solutions. And yeah, I was going to find out. And I was like, maybe it was you jerk off. Okay.
No, no.
It was healthy competition. You guys were right. You guys were better, had better panels than me and better interest rates and pretty much better everything at that time. I was selling for Solcius. And anyways, long story short, I thought that was you, but it was Michael now that I think about it. So, okay. Really quickly, let me go back to this. So I know some of the strategies that you use is the business cards. So you bring 30 business cards out with you. That's outstanding. Are you getting a lot of referrals as well?
Absolutely. That's a huge part of the game. You have to know how to turn one deal into two, two deals into three. I have generations of referrals. What I mean by that is one referral leading to another referral leading to another referral. I looked in the CRM and I sure have gotten my money's worth. Just that extra 5 minutes at the end of every presentation after you get a sale, hand the customer 3 or 4 business cards and just make sure that you say, I'm going to do a good job for you. I answer my phone. If I don't get right back with you, if I don't answer the phone, I will. I promise you. If I do a good job, you're at work, your neighbors ask you who put the solar panels on the roof. Word of mouth is huge in this industry. Can you please give them one of my business cards? I would say that before I exit every house. You have no idea just that couple of extra minutes asking for a referral, what it does, because customers start thinking, who can I refer to Troy? Who can I refer? And it could be, I mean, I have people referring me that I signed up 3, 4 years ago, calling me, hey, are you still in solar? My neighbor just moved in. He's ready to go. I set up an appointment for you. Can you come over? So yeah, I mean, absolutely, referrals are everything.
Awesome. Yeah, my when I was selling solar full time, my business was 52.6% referral.
Nice.
If I would have had the knowledge and AI tools that I have now, oh my Lord, man, we were doing everything by hand. You know, it's kind of like those guys where it's like, back in my days, we used clipboards and the 3 sheets, alarm days, we don't use iPads. It's like we used iPads to watch, YouTube on. They didn't even really have an app back then. But nowadays, with the technology where AI is going, I mean, it's some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about your Solar City days, man. I didn't know you worked at Solar City. Were you with Jake and Jordan, or what was that like?
Yeah, no, I know who Jake and Jordan are. You're talking about Icon Solar. Yeah, great guys.
Ash.
Love those guys. Actually, I was more with Curtis Taylor and some of those guys. I was in the West Valley branch, and that's when I got pulled from the alarm industry into solar.
Yeah.
I found out, I always had an idea when I was younger that solar was going to be the next up and coming thing. I don't even know how I knew that, but
Yeah.
I saw that happening. And then once it did take place and Solar City did go door to door, and now you could put, solar on the roof with no out of pocket expense. That was it. I knew that I was jumping in. I think we were only paying like $200 a kilowatt back then, but I was in. I was under Curtis Taylor though as a manager.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, I was out of Vegas and then Dallas with Solar City.
yeah.
So we did.
I always knew that was just a stepping stone though. I always knew that my goal was to get in, learn where the money came from, learn the financing, learn how to get the perfect pitch to sell, and then I was going to move on and do my own thing. So I was there for about 2 years. 2013 through March of 2015.
And then you guys started Sun Solar?
Sun Solar was born March 2015. I remember that I was moonlighting with another company, doing self-gens on the side, and Solar City found out about it, and they called in, and all of a sudden Curtis said, "Oh, they want to fire you. We're going to have to ask you for your computer." It was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm like, "Here, take it." And then they said, "Here's a severance package." I said, "What? You're going to give me a severance package on top of it?" Yeah. And I moved
It's
on.
in your contract.
Huh?
It's in your contract.
Yeah, it's like, boom. I was like, okay. And then Sun Solar Solutions was born that next week. So it was the best thing that ever happened to me by getting fired, to be honest with you.
So you work for Solar City. Before that, you did alarm sales?
I did for 15 years.
Wow.
15 years I was in alarms.
Savage. I did alarm sales for one summer, and I was like, I'm going straight to solar. Screw this.
I was really good at it. It was an easy sell. I mean, yeah, it was really easy. I mean, you're $1 a day. Who can't afford 30 to 40 bucks a month, right? It's like,
Yep.
so it was like handing candy to a baby. It was easy.
Yep.
I loved
Yep.
it. It was, part of my. It was just a big part of my life. 15 years, but so when solar opened up, I was ready to make the jump. I was looking for the next big ticket item.
Yeah. Yep. I feel that. Yeah. So are you the one that originally got the ADT alarm system installed back in 2006? Cool. Have they been out here to check your guys' batteries and make sure you guys got the monitor, the 2 gig or the GE, or what's the other ones?
Sure.
The Simon XT blue light is it right here. I'll just take a look at it really quick.
That's how you got inside.
Would you like me to take my shoes off? No? Okay, cool. No worries. Yes? Yep. Okay, cool. No worries.
Time to change it out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you haven't changed this thing out. Do you ever oh God. Have you ever ripped a machine off the wall, the keypad off the wall yet? Did you ever do those?
No, but I said if somebody wanted to break in, they could just rip this off the wall when they were trying to sell the Link systems and use it. It might as well just be a Frisbee because I have everything. I have your CPU, I have your siren, I have your keypad, I have everything right here in my hand, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. I might as well just go out front and start using it as a Frisbee because it's here. How's it going to call for help? I have it. It's in my hand. I just took it with me. So
I have ripped off, I think, 2 in my career. First one worked perfectly.
You actually ripped it off?
Ripped it off the wall.
I never wanted to go that far.
Yeah. I stopped after the second one. You want to know why? Because the guy lied and said that he was still paying for, I don't know, I think it was platinum at the time. He was still paying for platinum. So I was like, that's an easy takeover. Done, easy. Ripped it off the wall, cut the wires, put it on the countertop right in front of us. Started walking him through the rest of the sale process. And I go, hey, sweet, you'd be dead by now. So it sounds like we're going to be moving forward. I'm going to get you a better price, better, blah, 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 blah. We'll make sure your home and your family is secure by the end of the night. The guy lied and said he was paying for platinum still, and he wasn't. So I ripped this guy's thing off the wall, his Simon XT off the wall, and realized, and the cord came through the drywall. So I had to have my tech come out and fix it for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, the guy failed credit, had no money.
Oh, jeez.
And at that time, probably was a renter.
Yeah.
He didn't, for whatever, this was in Florida, probably for whatever reason, didn't want to tell me that he wasn't paying for it. Cause like, maybe he was like a sketched out or whatever, like didn't want to tell me he wasn't paying for it. So I didn't like rob him or whatever later on. Ripped the thing off the wall, cut the cord and everything. I was like, oh golly. Luckily,
they showed you how to take the windows out too. You could stand outside a brand new home and you can lift it. You put your palms on the windows, lift it up out of the track and slide it out and walk right into the house, right? I did that once and I couldn't get the window back in the track. So I said, I'm not doing that anymore. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I stopped doing those little things to show where the weaknesses are.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty sketchy sometimes. So that's funny, man. The good old alarm days. You're definitely an OG, brother. If you've sold alarms for 15 years. So
yeah,
pretty awesome. What was your what was your top year? Were you doing numbers like you're doing now in alarms too, or not?
I did 700 myself. 700 was my top year. I think it was like 735. 735.
How many years did you do that? So you're Golden Door in alarms too. You're a Oh, brother, what? We got to write a story on this.
Oh yeah, I was doing alarm. I was doing insane numbers. Uh,
You're a Golden Door Award winner in alarms too. You don't
well,
have 7, brother. You have like probably 14.
I was doing 60 to 70 a month myself in alarms, 2 to 3 a day, every day. Yeah.
Oh, we have to figure out what that number is so we can say you have 15 Golden Door Awards. Oh my God, dude, that is insane. Wow. Well done. Well done. You can, Troy, you won. You can go home now. You're
I
good.
know.
Tell me about this. Tell me about the married life, man. I just got married. So, I've asked a lot of the guys that are, yeah, thank you, brother. A lot of the guys that are top performers, we all struggle with, the balance or harmony of having kids and wife and being a top performer. My wife is my biggest cheerleader. I wouldn't be here without her. I really, she was there during the highest of my highs and then saw the lowest of my lows in my solar career. And now, running an energy fund, a coaching business, a software business. She is, continually being, again, my biggest cheerleader, which is awesome. But whoever told me, which was like 90% of the people, said that the first 2 years are going to be outstanding, are liars. It is not a honeymoon phase, because if it gets worse after this, dude, it can only get better. There's no way that the first 2 years was honeymoon. Living with somebody that is not used to, you're not used to living with, has been the biggest challenge. And she knows this. I talk about this all the time with her, but yeah, they lied. The whole, first 2 years, the best years. No, it's going to get better after 2 years, because there's a lot of, oh my gosh, things are different, not the same. So tell me, brother, how I beat this game.
Well, no, you got to be friends. So, married my high school sweetheart. She's all I know, honestly. But she's been my best friend, and if you're not friends, it's never going to last. So, even while you're having kids, the problem is you find yourself, everything you do as a couple is for the kids, and you drown yourself in your kids. And we saw that happening. As they were getting older, you're going to baseball, you're coaching football, you're doing all these sports, and all of a sudden, your friendship, you're separating. You're not as close as what you used to be. So now our kids, we started young, so now our kids are older, and we found out that we lost that connection that we used to have. We were best friends, and we had to rekindle that connection. And that's what I would tell you: is always keep that. You got to be friends. You got to like each other. You got to like each other's company, or it's never going to work. And it's not. You're going to have your bad times. She's going to have her bad times. It's being that support when the other one needs it, because we both had our good years and we both had our bad years, and it's staying the course. It's tough. Marriage is not easy, and but I can honestly say, now that our kids are older, she's my life. I couldn't ever see me being with anybody else, and she is my best friend, and I confide in her every day, and she supports me. She
Yeah.
she believes in me, and that's important. You have to have your cheerleader. If she's not my cheerleader, I'm not going to be very successful. And so her cheering me on makes a world of difference.
Let me ask
My,
you this. Go ahead.
no, and my kids, you know, they're my cheerleaders too. They love, watching their dad succeed. They love, they're telling me to slow down. They're like, Dad, like you just said, they're saying, hey, slow down, take a step back, let somebody else pull the wagon for a while. But it's just not in my DNA. So, but they're my biggest fans too, and I love them. All you want to do is see your kids succeed. You want to coach them and mentor them, and you want them to see how hard you work so that they can succeed. You want to plant those seeds in entrepreneurship in them so that they can go do their own thing.
Yeah, I have heard, and thanks for sharing that, brother. Appreciate that. I have heard that your kids will do more of what you do rather than what you say.
That is correct, and I've seen that because my kids don't listen to me worth a shit. What I mean by that is you could preach and preach and preach, but they know better than you, right? Which is fine because I always knew better than my folks. I didn't, but I felt that. But watching my kids now, and we created a new opportunity for my son. He got tired of the solar thing. My three boys did because they were in solar with me, and it wasn't for them. They wanted to do something else, so I helped them create another business off to the side, and now they're thriving. And the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they went out and did $100,000 on the pilot that we created. So they're off running now every day, and they're building that thing into an empire. And I'm just so proud. I'm this proud father watching his three boys put this company together and just run with it. So it's exciting to see.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome. Yeah, I don't think there's much more motivation. That's one of the things you first said, family first. I think and then you talked about your why, and it's clear that seeing your kids succeed and having your kids see you succeed, having a great relationship with your wife is obviously extremely, extremely important to you, and you can tell that by not just what you say, but the standards that you keep, the things that you do. Not that you don't make mistakes, you do, but by your actions, which is, I think, important. I think everyone always kind of says, well, I had good intentions. Well, you had good intentions, but the outcome is not.
Right, right.
What do they say? Hell, there's the road of good intentions is the road to hell or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like the road of good intentions. I think good intentions has nothing. Well, I had good intentions. Well, you just yelled at your wife, and then, yeah, that's not good
Well,
intentions.
I'm very, very lucky because it wasn't always that way. I had to learn. I was a very selfish person when I was younger. Very selfish, and I had to grow to put my wife first. So I would recommend that to anybody who's struggling in their marriage. Reverse the roles. Put your wife first, and you'll see that your whole life will change. And once I did that, once I made my wife my priority, my whole world got better. It was reciprocated. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
instead of this power struggle,
Yeah.
it was once I put her first, it was a 180. I guess what I'd say is everything got so much better and quickly, and it never went back, which is great. It's just been blossoming ever since our relationship.
Huh. Yeah, no, I've noticed that too. I think that's a little bit of a breakthrough for me there. So I appreciate that. Yeah. I think there's a book called Love and Respect, and it's a great book. You haven't ever read it. So men, if you ever wanted to get married, or if you are married, you should absolutely read that. It is, and if you're in sales, you should read it anyway, because it's psychology of how women are, and how men are. It says both the good and the bad, the pros and the cons of everything. But the outserve your wife. I think that is something that I've realized that I did less of. And once I started doing more of it, I was conscious of it. My relationship with Ryan got a lot better.
Yeah. See, and I agree with that, what you just said, because I mean, once my wife is the center focus of our family, she really is, and she takes care of the family, and I provide for the family, but she's the center. She's the glue. She's what makes us all stick. And by letting me back off and letting her take that role, I'm telling you, it's made such a difference in our lives. So
Okay, I have a question on that.
sure.
Here's what I struggle with. It's not really a struggle, but it's a current event in my life.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is just as driven as I am when it comes to like career development.
Right.
So I know that you don't take the bit out of an oxen's mouth. You let them go. You let them keep moving. You don't stop them. You just let them keep moving. If they want to go, you let them roll. Same thing with my wife. I encourage my wife to dream bigger, dream longer, dream farther, right? And all that. She's now going to go back to school to be a nurse practitioner. And I had to help her like with like identity, accepting who she was, and understanding that she's freaking a beast when it comes to pediatric intensive care unit, intensive care, which is what she is. She's on the pediatric ICU at the #2 children's hospital in the nation, and
Wow.
she's an all-star there. And so she's going to go back to school to get her nurse practitioner. Anyways, my question for you, Troy, is what did your wife do before you guys had 6 kids? Like, at what point did she now go be? Because obviously that's like people listening, like, oh, that's traditional, whatever. But like, at a certain point, was your wife? Did she work before as well? Because obviously, you know, yeah, men, we do want to provide, but I'm not gonna say it's different. But you know, ever since World War II, you know, women went back to work and all that stuff, so it's been slightly different. There are some women that, you know, are head of household kind of concept, and most successful guys that listen to this show and girls that listen to this show, you know, the guys specifically, I guess you could say, you know, they do want to provide for their wife.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
my wife was she was in the banking industry, and she worked on 401ks for larger companies, and she was with Chase, and then for a while she was with the credit union. So she did have a good career, but when she saw me growing and becoming more successful at what I was doing, and you know, we have 6 kids, somebody needed to be home and to help raise the family. She made that sacrifice, and she said, "I'll stay home and I'll run the house. You go out and do what you do." And that's we did that. That happened. I'd say back in 2011. She retired and just stayed home. We needed it. It was better for everybody.
how many kids did you have at that point?
6. We were pregnant with twins. We had 4, and she was pregnant with twins. So when this is a good story, because once I found out how to knock on a door, and I was getting better and better at it, I remember I was slinging pizzas for a while. Slinging pizzas, what I mean by that is I worked for Schwann's, and I was those Schwann's trucks that you see. I had a route, and I had the outskirts. I had all the grocery chains outside of Maricopa, and my job was to fight for shelf space and, you know, put on promos and, you know, scale the route. And I did a really good job of that. But the problem was I was sleeping, eating, dreaming pizza. Store managers calling me, shelves are empty. It was just a nightmare, and I was working 70, 80 hours a week, and it wasn't enough money. Long story short, learned how to knock on a door. She's pregnant with twins, and I said, "Hey, I'm quitting. No insurance, everything." I said, "I'm quitting. You're going to have to stay home. You're going to have to quit your job. We're going to do this full time. What do you think?" She bought in, and she quit. So that's how that all started. Believe it or not, we had no insurance. We had twins coming, and Dad was going to go knock on doors.
What it cost, about 10, 12 grand to deliver 2 kids back then?
Uh, Something like that. It was expensive. Yeah. I don't know if it was that much, but it was expensive.
Yeah. Back then it was probably not that much. It's what about it costs about 5, 6 grand to deliver a kid, no insurance right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's about a couple deals, about a couple panels.
Yeah. That's funny how we start doing that. Isn't that funny? Oh, I'm going to go buy a new car. Well, shoot. Let me see how many deals. That's 6 deals. Next 6 deals are going to buy this car cash. Okay.
Yep.
Let's pull the trigger.
Yep. Troy, let's step back, because obviously I appreciate you sharing about the about your family life. Obviously, we can get back into that here, but let me get back to some of the strategies that you use regarding how you're getting 1,000 deals in a week, which is what it seems like. It seems unheard of to most people. So for the guy that's installing 50, 60 deals a year, he's a couple years in, you know, he follows your page, he's on your YouTube. What is he not doing that, like,
honestly, you got to be very efficient, and I mean that. What I mean by that is, you're asking, how can I be a father and still generate all these deals? You got to have a 3-prong attack. And that has always been my philosophy and my strategy since day one. What I mean by that is, while I'm knocking on doors, while you're knocking on doors, however you do it, I had a concept where I concentrated on the new homeowners. Okay, when somebody moves into a new home, they are in a good spot in their life. It's something new. They're happy, right? So I always and I know that I'm not going to run into shade issues with large trees. I'm not going to run into roof issues because it's a new roof. I'm not going to run into electrical issues. They have good credit. I'm eliminating all of those problems by concentrating on a new homeowner. Okay, so I would pull every Thursday the new homeowner list for my zip codes that are around me where I live. And then I would put it in a route, an Excel route, Google route, whatever you want to call it, from my house, and I would have 150 stops. Okay, and I'd have to get through that route and introduce myself to every one of those people throughout the course of the week. Okay, have those conversations. And if I wasn't there, if I didn't get somebody at the door, I'd put the card in the door, and I would be in the same. I would dominate those areas, those neighborhoods. I would take offense if somebody got a deal in my neighborhood. You have to do that. But while I was doing that, I was also spending money sending out postcards, letters, introducing myself to all of those new homeowners. So a lot of times they would already have my letter or they'd have my postcard. Now I'm knocking on the door. Hey, yeah, I got your letter, Troy. Believe it or not. Hey, I did. I got your letter. I'd love to talk to you. Okay. So now it's it's already, they've seen me twice now, right? So I have that working for me. And then I'm knocking on the door. And then I would have a different approach. So not only am I sending out postcards and letters and knocking, I would do some advertising in some of the local magazines, or
Yeah.
I was spending some money with the newspaper because at the time people were reading the newspaper, believe it or not. And then you're going to get your older clientele because if you look at who our customer is in solar, our customer is the 40 to 55-year-old guy. You know, it really is. If you look at what our prime customer is, it's about a 40 to somebody that has a little bit of money, that has a house, it's a little bit more stable. And so that's who I was targeting. And the newspapers, I would get calls from the newspapers, I'd get calls from the postcards, the letters, and now I'm knocking on doors. So it's a three-prong attack. And as soon as one of those would crash and burn or wouldn't be paying for itself, as long as I was making money, I was happy. So I would every 90 days I would look back and say, what was my cost of acquisition? You know, what's my ROI on the postcards? What's my ROI on the newspaper? Okay, your biggest ROI is always going to be just your time knocking on doors, but your time is money. So you got to have everything working for you consistently. So I was just a one-man band, and that's how I'm able to put those numbers up. And now you're actually concentrating, creating a drip campaign on all of your customers asking for referrals. So with all those things happening, the cohesiveness, that's how you're able to run those kind of numbers. Now every one of your appointments is solid. You're not going to get the appointments that no show. You're not going to get you're not going to be wasting your time. What I'm saying is my appointments were solid. If somebody called me, they were there. I had a 90% sit ratio, meaning that if somebody committed to an appointment with me, they were going to be there. And that's important because a lot of times we're chasing, and all that's doing is wasting your time. That's not putting money in your pocket. So being at the kitchen counter, being at the table, pitching 3 to 4 times a day, even if you're just closing 35%, 1 out of every 3, you're going to be very successful if you're getting yourself to the table 12 to 15 times a week. And that was always my goal.
I freaking love that. Yeah, we've done quite a few of that in the past. We would do them by hand usually. I never actually sent out letters, but man, I wish I would have done that when I was doing farmers markets, dude. Have you ever done farmers markets? Is that anything you've ever tried before?
No. Yeah, letters, but you can have a machine do it now.
Yeah. We have that. Yeah, we have that now with my software, Golden Door Formula. We have we white labeled. Basically, we got a deal with a company actually out of Arizona in your backyard. That we got a great deal where it literally takes a pen, hand writes it. It's not exactly straight. It's a real pen. It's really cool. We send out postcards and letters, all that stuff for like a couple bucks a card. It's outstanding. But that's mostly for the referral side. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. Thanks for sitting down with us. Thanks for signing up with us. All those kind of things. Congrats on getting PTO and stuff like that. So yeah, if I would have, man, we should have done a lot more than that. We did it back then. We did everything by hand. So you're probably using machines now, and we did everything by hand back then. And that was I had eventually assistants doing that, but I was doing everything. That's just what I was told to do. I was told
Yeah.
to write hand thank you cards. I was like,
The
I didn't
idea
even know.
right? So if you can have an ROI on all three different, services that you're providing, or three different, prongs. I call them prongs because I think of it like a fork, right?
Yep.
You're attacking something at three different angles, and so I always try to have three different angles at a customer, and if you can get an ROI on each one, then that's how you're compounding your money, so that you're gonna do so much better. That's where the megawatts come in over the course of a year, because now you're turning one of those customers into two or three at the same time. So there was so many appointments I couldn't run them all. I was actually handing them out. So uh, you always hate to do that, but once you grow and you're creating so many opportunities, you're going to need some good help. So my brother stepped in, and my brother, watching him, and my son was really good. One day, my son wouldn't go into a house without me, and so I had him. He shadowed me for 40 appointments, and finally I said, I lied to him. I said, hey, I'm not going to make it. Go into the house. I knew he was meeting me at a house. I said, go in there and start the pitch, and he started. And when I walked in an hour later, I showed up at the house. He was transitioning into closing, and I was like, damn, he sounds so much like me. I just made my exit. I said, you guys are in good hands. I'm going to take off, and that was his first close. So that was heart touching when I saw that. But he's a really good he's really good in the house too. He's all about making a friend. My brother's very similar. His pitch is the same. So my brother has a lot of success. If he gets in front of somebody, he's usually walking out with a contract too. He's really good. So,
That's awesome. Is your brother still working with you guys still today?
yeah. He's actually still on Team Troy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that. Troy, I appreciate you sharing that, dude. That's badass. Yeah, dude. I wish I would have. Now that I think about it, I wish I would have. I mean, we had like at one point, I think six or seven going at one time, farmers markets back then. And I wish I would have, because there was like neighborhood markets that like the neighborhood would come to farmers markets it was like the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And if I would have done that, then they would have came out like, hey, come out to the farmers market. We're there. Come and see, blah, 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 whatever. Enter to win a year's free power. I don't know, whatever. Right? Oh man, I wish I would have done that.
It's all about getting success. It's just when you find something that works, you just double down. And that's been my whole strategy. When I find something, I'm not afraid to roll the dice. I mean, to me, without risking it, there's no biscuit, right? Risk it. Nice. To get the biscuit, you got to risk it. And who said that? Cardinals coach, Bruce Arians. That's what he said. When he goes deep, right? You got to risk it to get the biscuit. And so I truly believe in rolling the dice. If you have a good idea and you have a good feeling on something, act on it. Don't be afraid. Scared money doesn't make any money, and that's true.
Scared money not make no money.
That's right.
Boy, I love that. Troy, dude, you're building your social media up, bro. Let me transition a little bit, dude. You're building your social media up. We talked at the restaurant at Door Con or SolarCon, whatever it was. I was like, bro, like you were like the shadow man. You never came around. It was always MOD, everything. Now you're starting to build this. I'm really glad that you're doing that. You're actually making a presence. And I know why you didn't before. It makes sense, bro. Like it's clear, like I told you before, it's clear that your family is number one to you. And you don't need to be told how valuable you are. You already know how valuable you are because your family loves you and cherishes you, whether that's all the time or not.
I love that you said that, because that's everything. Money's not everything in the world. Love is. You got to have love in your life, and my family's first. Just if somebody, I would, if I could tell anybody anything, teach them anything, it's have love in your life, and it's your family. Make sure you guys can overcome it. There's differences, mend those fences, because we're on this planet for how long, right? Too short. And you want to have love in your life, and I have an abundance of it. I'm a very lucky man. I get to see my 6 kids every day. They still come by the house every day to see their dad. Every day. I get called. They say, "Good night, Dad." You know what I mean? It's priceless. I would never change. I mean, if anything changed, that is everything to me. So, and that's honestly why I've been able to do what I've been able to do. I mean, I've overcome some hurdles. I mean, I had a heart attack a couple of years ago. A lot of people don't know about it, but even in a year that I had a heart attack, I was still able to hit a double gold door, and I did it on New Year's Eve. It was the last day of the year. This was 2 years ago. I was short on 2 megawatts, and I needed 20 kilowatts, and I got 2 deals, and I hit 30 kilowatts. I made it by 5 kilowatts just because it was a personal goal of mine, and so I had open heart surgery. I was down for 3 months, but I was still able to sell 2 megawatts.
Troy, what the heck is up
I
with
would
you?
not have been able to do that without my family. So nursing me back to health. So it was.
What's your excuse, guys, listeners? Open heart surgery, still hit double golden door, down for 3 months. What's your excuse? He's got 6 kids. What's your excuse?
Yeah.
These guys that are selling, 70, 80, 90 deals a year. What's your excuse, guys? Hello. Drop in the comments below. What's your excuse?
That's funny.
Jeez Louise, bro. That is outstanding. So yeah, bro, you're building your social media presence. I love that. That's outstanding. I love that you're letting us in. You're letting us into the mind of Troy.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're paying somebody to follow you around and show us what you're doing, because clearly success leaves clues, and you weren't being selfish. You were just being strategic. I think after this conversation, you'd be selfish to not continue to put stuff out, because now we understand that, hey, you don't lose money by telling people your secrets. You're it's like Kobe Bryant. No one's going to catch you, bro.
Yeah. No,
They're not gonna.
and that's what you're saying is so true. I was always afraid to tell my secrets because I knew what was working, and I was always nervous. You're right. For years, I was nervous at letting everybody know what I was doing, and now I treasure, and it makes me feel so good when I'm able to tell somebody and tell them how to effectively incorporate this into what they're doing, and then when I see them go and do it and execute to perfection and score, it just makes me feel so good. I mean, a buddy of mine, Scott, called me a couple of years ago. Now it's been 2 years, 2.5 years, and he was getting fired from his job. He was a grocery store manager. I don't know if you heard the story, but
I did. I want the listeners to know. I like this story. This is a really good story.
yeah, he said, Troy, and I said, hey, I got something for you. You might not like it. Knock on doors. And he's like, knock on doors. I said, yeah, but you got the gift of gab, and I think you'd be really, really good. And I said, you don't know how to take no for an answer. So he had 3 different job propositions because he was about to get fired, and he was making good money. So he had to make a lot of money to support his family. And he came in, and I said, just do what I do. Here's the blueprint. Follow me around for the next 30 to 40 appointments I'm in. Just duplicate what I'm doing. Learn the word track, and just concentrate. He was recording everything I did. He was practicing at home, listening to the recordings over and over. And so when I had him start pitching in front of me, it was so identical to everything that I did. Because I believe in having conversations. I don't go in there with what do you call it, PowerPoint. I don't do that. I just go in and I kind of do the same thing at every house. Have a conversation, make a friend, educate, right? And he was doing that. Long story short, first year he hits golden door. Next door he hits golden door. Now he bought himself a house. He didn't really have a why. His family needed a home, and so I said, go buy the house. He didn't have the money. I said, well, it's going to take them a year to build the house. Tell them you're paying cash, and we'll figure out how to get the house. Just go buy it. So I went with him. He bought this $850,000 home, $900,000 home. He didn't have the money to buy it, but by the end of the year, he was in that house. 12 months, he had a brand new house, and he's able to support for his family. He's made a couple $1 million since he got into the solar industry, and now he's my prodigy. I mean, if you saw him, he does everything I taught him how to do. I gave him the blueprint, and now he's really successful. And I just makes me feel so good inside that, to just to be able to do that for somebody.
Back then, that was probably $850,000 house. Now it's over $1 million house.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Not only did you help him make a couple million, now he's got a couple $100,000 in equity.
Yeah, and he's got a tool set, a mental toolbox that is just going to keep building and building and building, and now he's going to know how to build an empire, which I'm very proud of, because every day I watch him and I see him getting better and better and better. So he's kind of new to the industry still, but he's come a long way. The learning curve was cut in half, put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He definitely looks like he would be a grocery store manager, and now he's a top G Golden Door Award winner, dude. That's awesome.
Twice, 2 or 3 times. Yeah,
that's badass, dude. Let me transition back a little bit, and then I'll try to land the plane here, if I can.
Yeah.
There's just a lot to talk about. Oh man, it's you and Michael, dude. Like I was like, Mike, I'm just gonna have you on like 3 or 4 times. Hope that's cool. Same with you. On this podcast, one of my goals is to find the formula, right?
Yep.
So you've mentioned this multiple times, and I want to talk about it because specifically you've mentioned it a few times. Is you've given somebody the blueprint, okay, the formula, which is why I call my software the Golden Door Formula, because I help take a Golden Door Award winner and through a formula create them into a double Golden Door Award winner, which I've done that now. Mm-hmm. Why, Troy, is it that 20 and 30-year-olds, which you're clearly not 20 or 30, you've been married for 24 years.
Yeah.
34 years. You're not a 30-year-old or a 20-year-old. Why is it that millennials, 20 and 30-year-olds, don't want to follow the formula that you have and think they can do it better? Why is that, Troy?
Because, excuse my language, it's fucking hard work. People don't want to put in the time. They want everything. There's a sense of entitlement now. Okay, I see it all the time. Nobody wants to take you get this industry. You get what you put into it. You truly do. There's no way that you can put 30 to 40 hours a week into this industry and not make $250,000 to $500,000 with your eyes closed. You're going to accidentally bump into people that want solar. Okay, it's just going to happen. You could be the worst salesman on earth. Just nobody wants to put in the time. I mean, knocking on doors and getting rejection is hard to overcome. People don't like that, so they're going to different strategies, right? They're always looking for the easier route. And the problem is, you just got to dive in. You got to start somewhere. In starting to get your skills, you have to go knock on doors. You have to. What I mean by that, you got to go into the neighborhood and cold call to become good at anything. No matter what avenue it leads you to, you need to start there, because that's where you sharpen your tools. That's when you get all the rebuttals, because you never know what's behind the door. And so the more doors you knock on I believe everybody should start there. Spend a year to 2 years in the neighborhood, on the door. And why? Because you need that mental preparedness. You need to be able to handle the rejection. You need to be able to have the rebuttals. Every door is going to lead to a different conversation. You need to learn how to make a friend. You need to learn how to have a conversation with a stranger. If you perfect that, if you perfect on how to create an opportunity, you will never starve. And a lot of people think, I'm the best closer in the world. I can close anybody, anywhere, anything. Good, but if you starve, you have nothing to close, and you don't know how to fish, it doesn't matter. If you don't know how to create an opportunity, it doesn't matter, right? So you have to become a perfect assassin at the door. What I mean by that is you need to be able to create the opportunity, right? If you can't do that, you're not going to be successful. And I think too many people try to take shortcuts. They hit the eject button and they're gone. I've seen a lot of talent come into this industry, and I'm thinking, wow, that guy is a future Golden Door winner. Yeah, this guy has way more talent than I ever had. And they hit the eject button because it didn't happen. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not. Anything worth doing doesn't happen overnight. I have this motto, and it's called decide, commit, succeed. That's my own little thing. But decide means a lot of people say they're going to do things, but they don't mentally decide yet. They haven't made the decision. They're just talking. They haven't really made the decision in their head that they're going to move forward on something. So once you decide, you got to commit. And when you commit, meaning you have to do all the sacrifices it's going to take to succeed. And a lot of people don't make it to that point. I mean, you can't put the sacrifice before the decision. You have to decide first in your head mentally, then move to making all the sacrifices. And if you could do both of those, you will succeed. And there is no shortcut. And that's my answer to you. Is just they want it to happen overnight, and it's never going to happen overnight. It just
Where does that come from?
Honestly, from not being successful. I'm going to be very, very. I've always dreamed about being successful. When I was younger, I was not. All my brothers and sisters. I come from a family of 6 brothers and sisters. They all had homes before me. They were all more successful than me early on. I almost felt like I was the ugly duckling off to the side, and they all had their careers. I had kids early, and I was never able to make it week to week. And I knew that I had to drive. So drive will outweigh intelligence, just so you know. What I mean by that is, if somebody without drive, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to have drive. Intelligence will come with the journey, okay? Somebody that has drive that doesn't quit will gain that intelligence through experience. So you got to have the drive, and I've always had the drive. I just always had the want to be the best. So I think that's where it comes from, honestly. I had a father that worked really hard, and I had to say goodbye to him a couple of years ago. But he was always my best friend, and he was my mentor. And I saw him work every day super hard his whole life, and I knew that I wanted more. I wanted more than what I saw him struggle with, and so that was a driving force.
What's one of the biggest lessons your dad taught you?
Family. He was best dad. Every baseball game that I'm a big sports guy, so I grew up playing ball, and every day I'd look up in the stands. My dad was there, whether it be a game out of town, wherever it was, he was there. He always made it, and he had 6 kids. He was at every game, and he kept his family together, and I think that's what I learned the most is family life.
What is one thing that you're going to do different that you learned not to do that your dad did? That you're like, hey, the buck stops here. I'm going to do this a little bit different.
You know what? Honestly, I never thought about that. What would I say? I think my dad was afraid to take chances. All right. I'm more of a gambler. I'm not afraid to risk stuff. I'm not afraid to risk it. He wasn't. He didn't. It was more of a security safety route, and I think that prevented his growth. But he had a smart mind. He was a very dedicated businessman, but he was afraid to take chances. It was more of the easy route, the route that he felt comfortable with. So I would say that mainly. He was a good father. There wasn't a lot that he was more of my best friend. So there wasn't a lot that I did not like. So
yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, there's I always tell people, I'm like, hey man, like, whether you had a good experience with your dad or a bad experience with your dad or your mom, right? Specifically like dads, right? For the men, is you can learn a lot of what to do from your dad and a lot of what you're not going to do from your dad too. Like,
my dad was very loyal. What I mean by that is he took the safe route. He just was very a loyal guy, and he knew how to make a friend. And I think I get that from him. My dad talked to everybody about everything, and he had a lot of connections, and he was well liked. He knew how to make a friend, and everybody that knew my dad still to this day talk to me. man, your dad was the best ever. Your dad, I just love having your dad over. I love doing this with your dad. So I know my dad had an impression on a lot of people's lives. He affected a lot of people, and
Yep.
you know, I always respected that about him. And I try to carry myself the same way. I want the best for everybody. I really do. I want everybody around me to succeed. And I read something the other day. I think Brad Lee put it out. He said, "You," something along the lines of you cheering that person on, cheering somebody else's success on, does not diminish yours, right?
Yep.
Cheer for everybody, and that's something I've always believed in. Is when I changed the way I thought, when I stopped worrying about what everybody else got and why poor me, poor me, poor me, why is this happening to me? You got to stop that. You're responsible for everything that happens in your life, right? And you need to find good in everything. It might be shit, but I only allow, people know me. I only allow positive around me. I do not allow negative around me. It's not even allowed in the same room. So if somebody's going to cry or bitch and whine, you're coming into the wrong room and you're talking to the wrong person, because I am not going to feel sorry for you, because I believe everybody is responsible for their own life and making good happen, right? And so I do fight with that, because I not, when somebody's complaining, I'm not the guy that's gonna give you pity. And but at the same time, I expect everybody to work just as hard and earn everything that they get. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. It's very hard for a Golden Door Award winner, top performer in the solar or door to door space to, or even real estate space, insurance space, whatever you guys sell, to pity. It's very hard to have sympathy. You can empathize, but it's very hard to sympathize, because you're like,
yeah,
the sun's out.
yeah.
Go
And
knock
I
on.
want everybody. What I'm saying is, I want everybody to get a Golden Door Award. You know, I want everybody to be successful. I want everybody to make a lot of money, and I do root for people. When I see people hit uh, plateaus that they've been, you know, seeking out, and when they hit it, I'm the first to congratulate them. If somebody beats me in numbers, I mean, that's why that challenge with Michael Donald and me was so personal to me. I mean, every week I was trying to beat Mike, and and then when he would beat me, I would get pissed off. It would literally, I was in the hospital ready for open heart surgery, and I'm on my iPad, and the doctor comes in and sees me on the iPad, and I'm looking up to see how many deals Michael Donald got that day. And
Jeez.
the doctor said, "You're scheduled for open heart surgery. You get off the computer." And I remember they had to actually shut down everything. My wife had Val shut off all my text messages, all my threads. I wasn't allowed to see any emails. Stop all the emails. Troy can't deal with this right now. Please just shut everything down. And I remember after surgery, it was like 5 days later, 6 days later, I'm like, why the hell has my phone not been blowing up? My emails aren't blowing up. And then I find out everything was shut down. I thought, oh my God. But even, you know, you get, what happens is you get programmed. And I was telling you earlier, I always treated it like I'm unemployed until the next sale. And it was just an overwhelming urge to seek out the next sale, where it was coming from. And it's not a good feeling, because when I go on vacation, I mean, it takes me literally 4 to 5 days to settle in, to get my mind off of work and my mind off of the next sale and the next referral. So the first 4 or 5 days is just me getting settled in. Now I start enjoying myself, because we all know when we get back, right, from vacation, it takes so much work to get back in the saddle, to get the pipeline back going and get everything cranking on all cylinders again, right?
Yep.
It takes a lot of work. Once you finally let go, now you got to go turn it all back on, and it's difficult.
Yeah, that's funny. On that note, I just got back from my honeymoon, and we were in Portugal, and it took me 4 days. It was like 3.5, 4.5 days where I was like, I can't turn off. Oh my God, I have a problem.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Troy, I remember sitting out looking out the ocean like, I want to be home in this chair working. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, what is wrong with you?
You're missing life, right?
Dude, like you you in this chair 2 days before you left, you're like, I can't wait to be in Portugal. And you're like, I want to be back in that chair right now while you're in Portugal? It's backwards, bro. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a problem.
Are you motivated by money?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, this is not charity.
No, see, I'm motivated by money. And in
Oh yeah.
2017, and I was only making 2017 is when APS put that deadline out there, and every day was a hat trick for me. And we weren't
Nice.
even making the kind of money that we were making back then because we were not an installer. So I think I was only making, get this, 30 or 40 cents a self gen back then, and I did 3.2 megawatts. But at that rate, I think I did the math, and if I took a day off, I was losing $9,000 to $10,000 a day.
A day,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was actually making $9,000 to $10,000 every single day. So my
Yep.
wife, I had to tell my wife because she kept planning these little trips, these day trips, and I'm like, hey, listen, we could do all of this later. Right now, it's like a gold rush. Every day I take off. When I told her the number, I said, let's just push some things out. Clear the calendar. I'm not going to come home for a while. So let's just know that sun up to sun down, this is what I'm doing. I'm not clowning around. I'm not messing around. I'm not hanging out with the boys. I am working, and
Yeah.
I just remember that. So yeah, it's that gut feeling that we have when we know that our tree is being picked clean when we're not there, right? Somebody's taking our gravy, and I always
Yep.
just it's just something that was in me that I was always afraid of missing out. Somebody's going to
Yep.
get what's mine, and that's what drives us. You know that. That's what
Yep.
drives us, right? So like you and you sitting in that chair, I get it. I get it. That's where you make your money.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah, it was different for me. Slightly different for me when in 2019, I had about $12,000 a month in passive income. So at that point, I was financially independent. I didn't have to knock anymore. I was making money from franchises, from real estate, and some oil stuff that I was doing. Um, I didn't have to knock anymore. I got to knock. So that was really cool. That's when I started scaling my businesses at that point. So I'm not money motivated in the same sense of a lot of the guys that listen to this. Because I'm past that phase. And it's kind of like, you ever seen that like one meme that's like somebody that's these two people at a wall, this massive wall. One of them's looking at the wall and they don't see over the wall. The other one's standing on books and they see over the wall. I kind of feel like that's how it is with money too. Everyone, like, you're working because you want to make passive income or whatever. You want to, have lifestyle freedom choices and all that. But now that I have over $30,000 a month in passive income, I no longer work for me because I don't really care. I mean, sure, I was looking at a Maybach yesterday and looking at Rolls Royces right now, and sure, do I want? I was looking at jets a couple days ago too. Like, those things are cool and all that. What was that?
no, you're good.
Oh yeah. And they're cool and whatnot, but I'm money motivated. For the record, I am money motivated. I'm no longer money motivated for me because I've already taken care of that. I'm
Yeah.
now money motivated to put up solar panels on women's shelters, orphanages, rehab centers, refugee centers, and drug rehabilitation centers. That's what money motivated I am.
See, that's
I don't
great.
need
And
money.
that's where I'm saying. I love you saying that because that's kind of where I'm at now, right? What happens is over time our focus kind of changes, and I know what you're saying, but it takes somebody. You have to go through that
Yeah.
process, right?
Oh yeah,
You gotta
100%.
do it, right? And then you got to realize, and you got to work hard so that you can take time off. And that's what I was trying to tell you is the story about my dad. He works really hard. He worked hard his whole life. He never played. I never got to see my dad really do the things that he always enjoyed doing, play as a kid. I mean, I still like to play. I'm the biggest kid you'll ever see. I love all the toys. I love doing stupid, odd stuff. I mean, I still love my comic book heroes. I love,
I saw it the other day. I was just watching your videos. I was like,
I love. I mean, I still go through my baseball cards. Okay,
Yeah.
all the corny stuff that I grew up doing, I still love. I mean, my family will be out here. We shoot golf balls, right? I bought all these Nerf golf balls, and we have a launch pad in my on my basketball court, and we shoot them up over the pool, and then we drop them onto the green that I have over here on the other side of the house, and we just play stupid games like that. But that's what I love to do, and that's why I do what I do, so that we could do these things, right? So that you
Yeah.
could go out and do all the stupid, corny things you ever wanted to do, and but you got to go through the hard work to be able to get there, and that's
Yep.
I don't want to lose who I am though, right? I'm still that kid, and I always want to be that kid, and I'm that corny guy that you know that still wants to go and do stupid shit, and my wife knows it, but she's been able to put up with it. My kids are just like me. I love it because when we go hang out, it's a good time. So
Yeah. I don't ever see myself changing.
yeah, me neither. I don't want to.
Uh,
I don't want to. So
I don't want to either.
right.
God created me this way to be this way, brother. Like I am wild.
Yeah.
I love having fun, but I love having fun because now I don't have, let me put it this way. I love and accept the ability when I can have fun. Like yesterday, I was at the pool in my building, and we were having some fun. I had a couple beers and stuff like that. Like literally, just a couple beers, just chilling, dude. I don't ever get time to just chill. Like I just don't. But I cherish it, and I don't feel any guilt having a couple beers in the middle of a Saturday, or oh my gosh, what is today? Well, that was on a Sunday. Sorry, today's a Monday. Monday, I had a couple beers at the pool, hanging out with my neighbors. There's zero guilt, because the last 10 years, dude, my last year of knocking full time, there was only 2 Sundays, Troy, that I missed knocking starting at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. Two Saturdays that I missed.
That's fun.
And it was like I was out there. One day I actually missed. I think there was a wedding that day. And the other day I was knocking at like 10:30 because I was freaking consulting a company that was like, I didn't have a choice. I'm like, you guys, I gotta be knocking at 9 a.m. I don't know about you guys, but like I'll see you.
That was me. So now I took yesterday off, right? We're in this. So I don't run Sundays anymore, and I won't. I just won't. I won't. Today, I think I worked hard enough where I will not work Sundays. I took myself off, and we took the boat and we went to the lake yesterday.
It's awesome.
It was with my family, and I don't feel guilty anymore. But before, what I was telling you is I would have felt so goddamn guilty. In that urge in my back of my head, where's the next deal? Oh shit, but that's to be successful. You have to have that mentality. You have to have that tunnel vision, right? Where the next deal is, and over time you can take time off, but you got to get there first. You got to learn. And I love that you said that because I just did that yesterday. They had appointments on the board for me, and I said, I'm not running. You better find somebody to cover those because I'm not going anywhere. So
let's go.
Yeah.
And because you put in the work, you get to say that now. I just wish that the guys listening that are not there yet, where they have lifestyle choices in the passive income that I know you have, the investments I know you have, that they have to go through it. Like dude.
See, and the kid is, honestly, like you said, I do what I want to do when I want to do it now, right? It's always great. And what I mean by I'm motivated by money is because I'm a very impulse buyer. I mean, if I want something, I just get it. I don't, and for somebody like that and for what I like to do, I have to make good money to be able to do it. And what I'm saying is there's a lot of people like me. And some people say, you're materialistic. Yeah, I am. I don't say, no, I'm not. Why do you have to buy a Lamborghini? Why do you got to do this? Why do you got to do that? Why? Because when I was a kid, I always dreamed about having a Lamborghini, and now I have.
And you said you were going to have one, so why not have one if you could afford it? Come on.
A lot of people will tell you that you're materialistic and try to rip you apart for it. But stand up for who you are. Do you like nice things? I do. Can I live in a cardboard box out in the street? Yes. I've been there. Okay. I've been in the cardboard box. Okay. I could make it and I could do it again. But do I like nice things? Absolutely. Okay. And I continue liking nice things. And that's what drives us. That's the prey drive, wanting more things, that, the hunger, and to be able to do for others. What I like to do now is, if I could do for others, that's even better, right? Make other
Yep.
people, dreams come true. That's even better. So yeah, so don't be afraid of liking nice things. Don't be afraid of, and I tell everybody that, because you got to reward yourself. What I mean by that is, for me, I actually bought a house, the house I live in now, for cash. Okay, so to be able to write a check and pay for the house all in just one swipe of a check, one swipe of a pen, that was such a great feeling. I will never forget that feeling, to be able to buy a house cash, right? And you could do that in this industry. This is one of the few industries that you're able to make that kind of money. It's almost ludicrous how much money we can make going door to door to door. It is a skill set, and a lot of people don't believe it, but we, us that are in this industry, don't take it for granted. I mean, what I mean by that is, go reward yourself, buy yourself that nice, because that's how I used to do it. Okay, like you and I were talking earlier. Okay, I want to put a cabana in the backyard. It's 30K. How many solar deals? Oh, that's 3 deals. Let me go write 3 extra deals this week. I'll pay for the cabana in cash. Oh, this Raptor I want. How much is it going to cost? It's $100,000. It's $100,000. How many deals is that? That's how I start to think. Okay, I think that way. I gotta boost it up. I gotta get some extra deals, and then just pay everything in cash. Right? Think of it that way. You're gonna, you're gonna be motivated to go get the next thing that you want. So it's okay to be a little bit materialistic. A lot of people think it's not. You gotta, save all your money. But I'm smart. I'm smart. I do put money away, but I also reward myself, and I'm not afraid to say that.
Love that. Yeah, we can keep jamming on that, but I want to ask one last question, because I know you got to get moving here in a second. But I just want to, this is what we're going to talk about next time we have a show. Okay. The idea behind delayed gratification and delayed return. There's a problem with, which leads to burnout, which I don't even believe in burnout, but which leads to burnout when it's too delayed. Like, delayed gratification doesn't work. Delayed return does work. Delayed gratification is like, I'll get there one day. There's no urgency behind it. Like, delayed return is like, cool, I'm going to set a date. Basically, the main difference is there's a date. There's an end goal. There's the SMART goals, right? Time sensitive, right? And the T in the SMART. Anyways, okay, cool. I don't want to know your opinion on that, because I'm going to keep jamming for another 45 minutes on that. I know you got to get moving. My next question literally was, I've never driven a Lambo, never driven in a Lambo. I've a Lamborghini. I've only driven Ferraris. What is it like? I see Lamborghinis through my reticular activating system a lot, because I think they're one of the coolest things ever. What is it like driving a Lambo?
No, it's cool. It's kind of funny, because you inch up, right? So what I mean by that is, when I got into solar, I always wanted nice cars, and so the first one I bought was the Z06 Corvette, and I bought that, and I started collecting cars, and then I bought.
What year is Z06?
It was a 2007, 16? Was it 2017? Yeah, and then I always wanted a Porsche, so then I got the Porsche, the 911, right? And that was oh my gosh, that was like,
dude.
So then my partner went and got that Ferrari. Val, he went and bought the Ferrari, and he told me. I remember when I had just bought the Corvette, and it was like the third car that I had bought. Because I bought a Range Rover, a Land Rover, and a couple other cars, older Corvette, and then I bought the Z06. And he goes, "You always talk about getting the 911." I go, "I know, but it's expensive." He goes, "So what? Go get it." And I'm like, he goes, "You only live once. You're making enough money. Go do it." And so we were on the plane when he told me that. Val told me that. And I'm like, he goes, "Why are you buying all the cars that you never dreamed of? You always talked about a Porsche. Since I've known you, you wanted this 911 Target. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "All right, shit." I went home and I bought the Target. I went out and bought it immediately. And And then he went out and got the Ferrari. So I couldn't go get the Ferrari. So I'm like, I always dreamed about a Lambo. So now I'm going to go get the Lambo. So I went and got that. I got the Lambo. So that's a story, but driving it, it's like think of it. Did you ever see Pretty Woman?
Yep, of course.
Okay, the movie. When it handles like it's on rails, takes corners like it's on rails. That's what it feels like. It's just all-wheel drive. And so we get to take it down to the airport, and there's this thing called no-fly zone that they have where you get to race side by side, use the 2 runways. And so we've been doing that, and it's so fun just to go out there and just go balls out and just go as fast as you can. And it's been an experience. It's fun. I would recommend it. You should go get one.
Let's go.
Yeah,
my last car was a Nissan GTR.
Oh, those are nice.
That was my dream car. That thing is, dude, that thing is they call it Godzilla for a reason. That thing is insane.
I heard they're fast. Yeah.
Dude, they were badass.
Yeah. But the problem is you can't really take it. I only get to drive it on the weekends.
I know.
It's not something that you can't drive it to an appointment. You can't drive it to work.
Nope.
You set the wrong example or wrong impression. You don't want to do that. So I get to take it out on the weekends, and I think I have it. Just so you know, I mean, I think I've had it for 3-4 years now, and it's under 10,000 miles. So I don't drive it that much.
Smart move.
They do hold their value.
Yes, they do. That's awesome. Yeah, man. I don't know. I rented a Ferrari in a Rent-A-Rari in San Diego. I took my grandpa. He's never driven in a Ferrari before, so I took my grandpa to the racetrack. So I take my grandpa I try to take my grandpa to the racetrack every year. So I rented a Ferrari, and it was like just having the rear engine with the sound. You're like, bro, this is insane. It felt amazing. So that's awesome. That was my last question for you, dude. So Troy, it's been outstanding. Again, we can keep on going, but I want to preserve your time and make sure that you're on for another show. So where can we find you? Where can everyone follow you at? And we want to be able to support you.
Follow me on Instagram, Troy Dinbokowitz. You can find me on Facebook. I'm putting out a lot of content right now. So DM me if anybody needs any help. I'm here. I just want everybody to know that I have a lot of experience. There's nothing I haven't ran into. So even if it's just personal, something that you have that might, maybe you just need a little tweaking. Maybe you're not having success doing something, and it's a lot of times, believe it or not, it's confidence, just knowing that you tweak something, and it makes all the difference in the world. Maybe you could pick something up, because a couple of times, we just need a nugget here and there, and it'll propel us to the next level. And I'm here. That's what I want. I want to help other people succeed. So find me on Instagram, follow me, and I can't wait to chat with you again, Mikey.
Yes, sir. Awesome, Troy. Well, God bless you, brother. Appreciate what you're doing for the industry, man. Everyone go follow Troy. I'll put your Instagram and your Facebook and all your handles in the show notes below. So appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for your time, and go see it. We'll see you on stage next year.
Thank you, buddy. Let's go.
Bye.